And bright suns, everybody, and welcome.
Welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Welcome in. We are reviewing the finale of Ahsoka season 1 today. And I'll just tell you, I have so enjoyed. Hang on just a second. That's me. Let me close my window there.
Okay.
I have so enjoyed this series. I think, I love that Dave Filoni picked it up right where Rebels left off. And I think that a lot of people who have not seen Clone Wars and Rebels have had trouble with it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They can catch up, He's done a fantastic job. And this episode was really, really pretty much everything I hoped it would be. What did you think, William?
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was pretty much, I was pretty interested by a few of the things that happened. A few loose ends that'll need to be tied up, and surely, I mean, I'm confident at some point we get an Ahsoka season 2, or if they don't call it Ahsoka, maybe they'll, maybe it's Heir to the Empire, or maybe it's maybe they give it some other name.
I think
a continuation of the story. Nevertheless.
Yeah. I think they'll go ahead with Ahsoka season 2. I really do. I think they'll continue it. And obviously with the way this one ended, I think they have every intention of continuing that story. And Dave Filoni really introduced in the Clone Wars and Rebels, he really introduced so many really amazing, new and interesting storylines and characters to the Star Wars universe. Ahsoka, of course, being the first one. She is just straight out of his head, basically, and with the guidance of George Lucas. George Lucas has a hand in this, and so it's really been good. Now this slideshow, William, I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Yeah,
go ahead and do it now.
Part 7. So recap of the last episode. Hera faced a court-martial for disobeying orders in her efforts to help Ahsoka. She is exonerated by a message from Senator Leia Organa, delivered by none other than C-3PO.
We get a cameo from Anthony Daniels, which is
great.
Amazing.
Awesome. The Purrgil Starwells arrive at Peridium with Fulcrum, Ahsoka, and Yang. They exit hyperspace into an Imperial minefield placed there by Thrawn and his forces, Morgan, etc. They escape the minefield, and the Purrgil take off. They come out of hyperspeed. Hyperspeed. They realize the mines are there, and then they take off. But
they go back in.
Ahsoka's ship gets out of the Purrgil's mouth, and they make their way out of the minefield. And some Imperial fighters try to hide while, they try to hide while Imperial fighters are kind of trying to locate them. And then Ahsoka reaches out to Sabine, trying to find her via the Force. They kind of get forced wiretapped, really, is what kind of happens
they
there.
They do. Yeah.
The Dathomir, which is, Thrawn says, hey, I want you to track them down. And so they say, sure thing, we'll do it, essentially. Morgan tells everything everything that she knows about Ahsoka, tells it to Thrawn. Then he's intrigued to learn that that Ahsoka is Anakin Skywalker's apprentice.
Very intrigued.
And
very intrigued.
Yeah, he tells Morgan that they must control the situation. And then we cut to Ezra and Sabine moving along in small armored pods, with the Noti. Funny little turtle-looking characters.
Yeah.
And Sabine, brings Ezra up to date on all that's happened in his absence.
Mm-hmm.
Thrawn enlists the witch's help in locating Ahsoka. The witches pinpoint Ahsoka's location when she enlists the witch's help to reach out, basically wiretap the Force essentially, and locates they're able to locate Ahsoka while Ahsoka's trying to reach out to Sabine.
Right.
And
right.
so
they're spying on her force reach or yeah, they find her that way.
And so
because they are force sensitive. The witches have some kind of a connection to the Force, albeit an ominous one. They do have it. So which Thrawn does not.
Yeah. And so Thrawn sends Enoch to destroy Ahsoka. Baylan leaves Shin for good to pursue his quest. She contacts Thrawn and tells him she's located Ahsoka. She and 2 gunships of troopers attack Ezra and Sabine's caravan. Ahsoka arrives after escaping an encounter with yet another encounter with Baylan. Takes his ride, steals his howler, and she shows up to the party. And then she and 2 gunships of she being Shin, and 2 gunships of troopers attack Ezra and Sabine's caravan. Ahsoka arrives.
This is a really great scene here. These are some really good fight scenes, battle scenes, good dialogue there, with Ezra, and what have you. So I really enjoyed the choreography and, just the whole production of this. I thought it was very well directed.
Yeah, great. And then Ahsoka, arrives, helps them to defeat the enemy, and she's reunited with both Ezra and Sabine. Funny quote from Yang says, "Well, they're all back together. I hope I survive long enough to see the outcome." Pretty funny.
I thought that was funny. He's still trying to. He looks down, from the ship. He's flying the ship as usual. He says, Yang has some good lines. I really like his. I like Yang is the droid. I really have enjoyed him. But that's kind of a recap there of episode 7, and of course we're on the finale. This episode aired on October the 3rd, and it's called The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. And it is 48 minutes long, rating of TV 14. And we drop in, immediately following, what William just said. And that episode was called Dreams and Madness, which was basically a line that Baylan Skull had. He said he called Peridia the land of dreams and madness, and we're about to see. We're kind of getting an idea of why. The opening scene for episode 8 is a good visual aid as to why he calls it the land of dreams and madness. Because Morgan is now. Did you want to talk about the Mortis gods as an intro, or do you want to wait till we get to it?
Well, let's hold off. We'll save that for toward the end. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and minimize this.
Okay. I put it at the end. We could have done it at the beginning. But we want to talk a little about the Mortis gods, y'all, especially because they, at the very end of this thing, they come in to play heavily. So we'll give you some background on them, catch you up on who they are and what Baylan's angle might be. We get a really good idea of what Baylan's angle is at the end. But this first scene, Morgan is rewarded. She informs Thrawn that the cargo transfer is complete, and then the witches kind of call her together. They're standing in a semicircle, and they tell her, you've done well, and they ask her, is she ready to receive what they call the gift of shadows? And this is a ceremony to, I guess basically elevate her, her status. I mean, Morgan is a witch, but this kind of elevates her, probably not necessarily to the Great Mother's status, but makes her a lieutenant, maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of, is that the idea that you got there?
Roughly, yeah. I think so.
So this is a real interesting ceremony here. Lots of special effects and what have you. Thrawn is watching, and she, the Great Mother comes to her and she puts her, hands on her face, and there's sparks and what have you, and ominous music and all this. It's very dramatic, and I'm thinking, well, there go Morgan's eyes. Because the Great Mothers just have black eyes. They don't have, it's really, really scary. But anyway, so Morgan's visage changes. Her face changes with, the dark lines and patterns, much like the Great Mothers have on their faces. And so it's a real interesting ceremony. But at the end of it, the Great Mothers come together and they conjure the Blade of Talzin from thin air. Now, we have seen them do this before in the Clone Wars. And it happens, in the animated series. But it happens basically the same way it happened in the animated series. And they present the Blade of Talzin to her, as a gift, another gift. Yeah. So that you think, okay, well, now Morgan has more status with the witches, which makes her, of course, more dangerous.
Yeah, she's like it's like they kind of like made her like full-fledged Night Sister, versus kind of follower status, I guess.
Right. Yeah, but that's kind of the impression that I got too. So then aboard the Fulcrum, we cut to aboard the Fulcrum. The Noti caravan is moving across the plain there, with the Fulcrum hovering above it, and Ezra is aboard the Fulcrum in a little compartment where Huyang is, and he is constructing a lightsaber, which I love this scene. Have we ever seen a lightsaber constructed other than in the animated series? Have we ever actually seen this?
I don't believe so. It's like they just always seemingly have them.
Right, hey, Mike, thanks for dropping in.
Yeah,
for use. So I thought this was very unique in that I don't think we have actually seen anybody build a lightsaber. And in the live action, and so he's constructing a lightsaber, and he's kind of Ezra's style is not Huyang's style. Now keep in mind that Huyang has been doing this for a long time, helping Padawans to construct lightsabers. And so he is kind of disapproving of Ezra's approach at first. He says, I've got a system, everything is organized and what have you. And Ezra says, I don't have time to be organized. I've got to get this done. And so, he, at one point, Huyang says, well, who in the world taught you to build a lightsaber? And Sabine, who's standing at the window, speaks up and says, Kanan Jarrus. And, Huyang thinks for just a minute, and this gets this, understanding look on his face, if that can happen, and says, well, I taught Kanan Jarrus to build a lightsaber. And so Huyang really connects, I think, back with, thinks about Kanan and
Caleb Dune.
And he does. And he pulls a, he pulls an igniter. I guess that's what you call that. He pulls a special piece from a drawer to the side, and says,
I think it's the emitter is actually the name of that piece.
Emitter. I couldn't think of, I knew it was something like emitter or igniter. Those two words are real similar. Emitter. And he says this, I had two, and Kanan chose the one, and I saved this one as a spare in case he ever needed it. So this is just a really I thought, oh, that is so great. I mean, so that means
That
that,
was awesome.
yes, that it's just a great connection there, to Kanan. So Ezra, puts that emitter in, that last piece, and ignites the lightsaber, and it's blue, and it's perfect. It works
People
perfect.
said it's funny with this scene. People had said it would have been funny because in Rebels, the blades of the sabers look so thin, and so
Yes.
people said it would have been funny if Ezra would have like constructed it, and whenever he first ignited it, it would have had the skinny blade.
That's
And then he Yang would have tweaked something for him real quick, and then it would have been
yeah.
fully fleshed out like normal.
Yeah.
And
That would have been. Yeah, that's true.
I was like, that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that, it's pretty clever.
Well, the fans, golly, the fans are on top of this thing. I mean, there are fans that just don't miss a trick. So, hey, Mike. Oh, good to. Oh, good.
Thanks, Mike.
Good. Thank you so much for popping in. We appreciate it. But yeah, that would have been really neat. But I love this scene. So Ezra has the lightsaber, and it's ready. And Sabine is kind of watching at the door with her arms crossed, and she's watching. She's kind of pensive, and she seems, kind of somber and almost sad. And Ezra turns to ask her a question. Did Ahsoka ever? And the rest of that sentence is probably teach you to build a lightsaber. But he stops because she's gone. She's not there. And, at that point, Ezra turns to Hu Yang and says, what happened between those two? And Hu Yang, tells him that Sabine had lost her entire family in the Empire's purge of Mandalore. And that they wiped out, hundreds of thousands of people. That was a horrible, night of 1,000 tears. And at that point, Ahsoka really got worried in Sabine's training that it would turn to like a revenge thing, and that she would, was training for the wrong reasons, and that she would become dangerous. And so we get that,
As if she wasn't already dangerous as a Mandalorian.
Yes. So that we kind of get an explanation as to what happened and why Ahsoka stopped training her. She worried that she was training for the wrong reasons, and that she would be vengeful because of losing her family. So, at any rate, that's kind of the explanation there. So then outside, Ahsoka tells Sabine that she knows about her deal with Baylan. She knows that she didn't destroy the map like Ahsoka had instructed her to do, but she doesn't chastise her. She comments that, hey, your gamble paid off, and we probably never would have seen Ezra again had you chosen differently. So Ahsoka is at peace with her decision not to destroy the map. But she tells her something here. The two share a moment that was really cool. She tells her that regardless of what choices she had made in the past, she being Ahsoka, Anakin, her master, had always stood by her even when nobody else did. And that is true. And because of that, Ahsoka tells Sabine that she will always stand by her. So I love that. I love that commitment there. There's a healing, I think, that takes place between these two.
It's an obvious reference, to her being before the council, being on trial for the crimes that Barriss Offee had committed. So that was definitely the high point. There have been other times where he'd stood by her, but that one where everyone else, they tried to smooth it over. Mace Windu, Yoda, they all tried to smooth it over and be like, "Oh, this is your trial." Essentially, she probably would have been upgraded to, the next status, Jedi Knight, if you will, from Padawan to Knight.
They messed up. They messed up. The only other person, interestingly enough, the only other person who stood up for her at her trial was Padme.
Yeah.
Padme also stood up for her and supported her and believed that she was not guilty. Anakin and Padme were the two who believed in her no matter what. And then later on, we see what was it in Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian, where she was actually at Padme's funeral at great risk to herself.
Yeah.
She said she was my friend.
Jennifer.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Jennifer. So yeah, definitely. Oh, hey, Mandy. Welcome. Yes, at some point we will. I hope we get to do that, Mandy. But welcome in, Jennifer. So at any rate, we'll move on with that. But I thought that was, just a good scene.
Yeah. I think this scene is kind of key to, them being able to move forward and their trade, with the training and with their relationship as well, kind of smoothing over the rough patch of, of the past. And Ahsoka says, let me tell you a secret. Being a Jedi isn't about wielding a lightsaber. Train your mind, train your body, trust in the Force. And they end up being attacked by fighters. The ship loses its stabilizers. Ahsoka and Ezra keep it from falling on the Noti using the Force. Sabine makes an adjustment, kind of hot wires it a little bit, and gets a burst from the engines that's enough to propel it forward and take out the fighters. But the Fulcrum crashes a short distance away, the ship. And Ahsoka says this will slow them down, only if they let it. So So it's a good scene. I enjoyed the nuances of this episode. I enjoyed the transitions. I thought it was directed very well. I don't know. I'm not sure who directed this episode particularly. I need to. Well, no, I'm not. I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was because I made a note, and it was. And of course, my mind went blank. Oh, Rick Famuyiwa. Yeah. Because I enjoyed it so much, and I thought, okay, was it the other gal? Who
Bryce Dallas Howard, who usually.
Well, it is, but I don't think Bryce Dallas Howard directed any of these episodes.
I don't think she did either. I don't recall seeing her name.
It was, let's see, it was somebody else. I have not made a note in my series credits, but I did notice in the credits, the end credits, that Rick Famuyiwa did direct this episode, and it shows. Let's just put it that way. It shows, I think. But at any rate, so this is, again, a really good scene. And then we cut to Thrawn, and Thrawn and his first lieutenant. What's his name?
Enoch.
Enoch,
gold face guy,
gold guy, strategize over. It's like a hollow map, really cool hollow map of the terrain, on the planet, and they prepare for a ground assault. So Thrawn, he knows, he has learned that Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan, and so he reasons from that her approach will be similar to that of Anakin, and he has had a brief past dealings with Anakin, so he kind of he goes with that strategy. He inspects a group of night troopers, and we've talked about their appearance and how rough they look, after being there for 10 years. This group of night troopers has been assembled by Morgan. And he says, are they, they're prepared. These are the volunteers. And, Morgan says, yes, they're prepared to make the sacrifice for you, Admiral Thrawn. And he says, well, it's for the Empire. Yeah. So that, probably these guys know that they're going into a situation that they probably won't live through. So, at any rate, that's we know something, is coming. So again, Thrawn was right. He's a good strategist, which makes him extremely dangerous. Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine then approach the hyperspace ring and the Chimera on Howlers. So after the fulcrum went down, they go to Plan B and they ride in on some Howlers towards the hyperspace ring, and the Chimera is now in the middle of the hyperspace ring, which is really cool. I think I love.
It's a neat visual.
It is. It's really cool, and it's enormous. I love the the vantage point that you get. It's really amazing how real it looks. Thrawn, Thrawn says, "Rain hellfire on them. There will be no negotiating with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker." So he throws down.
He's taking no chances.
And the Chimera then fires blasters, at them from underneath, and they're dodging, and the Howlers are going, trying to avoid getting blown up, and they make it to the gate, coming up on the gate, and Ahsoka tells Ezra, open it, and so using the Force, he and then Sabine, kicks in to help him open the gate, and they make it through. So so they survive.
Director wise, real quick, director by episode, Dave Filoni did episodes 1 and 5, Steph Green 2 and 3, Peter Ramsey episode 4, Jennifer Getzinger episode 6, Geeta Vasant Patel episode 7, and then Rick Famuyiwa were this final episode 8.
Interesting. So of those names, I only recognize Rick Famuyiwa. So that's interesting. That
other than Dave, obviously.
Yeah. So well, he did a fantastic job with this one. I really wish he had done more episodes of Ahsoka, because I like his direction. I really do. He did a good job, an excellent job with The Mandalorian. The Thrawn dispatches the night troopers, this bunch that has been assembled to make the sacrifice for him, and he goes to tell the Great Mothers that, quote, "it is time." Now our trio engages the night troopers, and they with some again some good choreography and fight scenes and what have you, they take them all out. Now there's 20 or 30 of these,
a good number.
Guys. And so they take them all out, and but what we see, and this is what we kind of feared, the witches reanimate these troopers who are dead.
So they wipe them all out, blow through them, and then they don't stay down.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Hey, welcome in.
It's because that. Oh, hey, Garrett, welcome. That they are. Oh, Jonathan, I've been looking at my notes and I didn't notice everybody had popped in. Thanks so much. Rick Famuyiwa is who directed that. Thanks for being here, Mikey and Garrett. Welcome in, guys. Thanks so much for materializing. We appreciate you. And let's see, where was I? Okay. So that the witches reanimate these night troopers, guys. So they're like dead, but they're not. They're zombies, essentially. There are Star Wars zombies.
Yeah. This is not the first time this has happened either. So
it's not.
People are just unfamiliar. They haven't seen it, necessarily in live action. So people, again, people are unfamiliar, and so this isn't new. It's just new for live action.
Right, exactly. And so Ahsoka looks at Ezra and says, "Has this ever happened before?" Because Ahsoka's thinking they're done with these guys, and then they all start getting up, and Ezra says, "No, this is new." So Ezra's never seen this either, apparently. but so they're all, they realize they're going to have to fight him again, and it's going to be harder to kill him this time because they're already dead.
Yeah.
So so Thrawn prepares to depart. He sends Morgan to engage Ahsoka and stall for time. Now, this is what needs to be done. And Morgan gets this, this look on her face because she realizes that she's going to get left behind. Yeah, she realizes that she's kind of the sacrificial lamb here, and she's going to get left behind. And so when, as Thrawn and the witches leave, Morgan is standing there with, still has the blade of Talzin in her hand, and she says, "For Dathomir," and she goes off to stall Ahsoka. They're basically trying to slow them down so they can get away, so they can make that jump to hyperspace.
People talk about, that there have been a few that haven't liked how Thrawn necessarily was portrayed, in this. He's got one goal, and it's to get out of this galaxy.
Yes.
And so, anything else is considered an acceptable loss. As long as he gets out of there, and Ahsoka, his plans are not foiled by Ahsoka and company. That's his number one directive.
Right.
So, losing forces, that's no skin off his back.
He doesn't care. Yeah. At this point, I mean, he said
they're expendable.
And I thought that too. I thought, anybody's expendable, including Morgan. Yeah. And I don't think that she realized that she was expendable until that moment. But it's interesting. Well, I was going to make a comment, but I'll wait because we haven't gotten to that part yet. But anyway, she heads off with the the blade of Talzin, and we're going to get a rematch essentially, because Ahsoka has fought Morgan Elsbeth before in the Mandalorian, and so they had this is not their first meeting. At any rate, so Ahsoka sends Ezra and Sabine ahead while she engages Morgan. Morgan approaches her. She's doing what she was told to do, and trying to stall for time.
Yeah.
And so Ezra and Sabine then fight more zombie troopers. So they are trying desperately to get to the Chimera and stop them from taking off. And of course, obviously Thrawn is, just throwing Morgan and troopers and zombies and anything he can at them to slow them down. So Sabine, has to, Sabine at one point gets pinned up, one of them, he's got like half of his helmet is blown away, and you can see the icky, zombie face. And, but he pins Sabine up against a column, and she, she has to use the Force to recover her lightsaber, which she's dropped, which is pretty cool. You can see Sabine in this episode. Sabine really gets a much better command of the Force. She has to use it several times, and this is a big moment for her because it's life or death. People have said, good point, Jonathan. Yeah, it's life or death. Do or die. It's very similar to Luke and the it escapes me right now. The big white snow monster. The name escapes me right now, but very very similar to him. He's strung up, and he has to use the Force to pull the saber to him. That's true.
So anyway, she wasn't able to move the coffee cup essentially previously, and now she's in a tight spot, and has no other choice. It's do or die. So sure enough, she ends up pulling it off.
She comes through, and she's making progress. She's getting her mojo back.
Wampa. Sorry.
Wampa. That's it.
Wasn't coming to me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it wasn't coming to me either. But yeah, the big white snow person or snow monster. Let's see. So while, so they're all fighting basically, and, Sabine, they're kind of, they advance, they move to the edge of the tower as the Chimera is moving away. The ship is, they've already, Thrawn's given the order to take off. And, it's getting further away, and there's this big, it's a big jump, from the tower over to the Chimera. And Ezra thinks it's too far. And, he says, I can't make that jump. And Sabine says, yes, you can. I will push you across, and then you pull me across using the Force, using the Force boost. And it works because Ezra takes a run and shoot, jumps, and Sabine again, she comes through, and as he starts to fall, she pushes him with the Force up, and he's successful. He makes it onto the Chimera, takes out the two guards who are standing there, looking, and then he yells at Sabine, come on, we're getting, hurry. And as Sabine turns around to get that running start that she needs to jump.
It cracked me up that he got it down to football position to to run and make the jump. Kind of football sprinter position to run and make the jump, and they'd be pushed. But yeah,
it was. I wonder how they filmed that. That jump. It'd be interesting to know how they filmed it, because it's just, everything looks so good, y'all. The special effects in this are just off the charts. But at any rate, as Sabine turns around, she sees Ahsoka fighting Morgan and the Night Troopers, and we hear, then it cuts over to Morgan and Ahsoka, and Morgan says, your friends are gone, and you will die here alone. And we hear Sabine's voice, and she says, not alone. And we realize that Sabine did not make the jump. She is staying with Ahsoka. And so then Ahsoka advances on Morgan, and this is the battle. The battle between Morgan and Ahsoka is excellent, I think. Eventually Ahsoka makes like a spin move. She disarms Morgan, and then and takes her out with her own blade. Ahsoka kills Morgan with the blade of Talzin, which is really, that was like a wow. I wasn't really expecting that. But yeah, she does. And I was a little surprised that Morgan dies here, or maybe dies here.
I was going to say, I think, I think that, the witch's magic is, mysterious. And so, we've brought back plenty of other people from the dead, from the dead at this point. It would not at all be a stretch to bring Morgan back at some point.
It would not. But the, via the Force and the connection that they have, the Great Mothers on the ship tell Thrawn Morgan is dead. And he says, she's done what needed to, what was necessary. So no skin off his nose, no grieving on his part. He's just stepping over people at this point, to get what he wants, which has always been his modus operandi. But at any rate, I thought it was really interesting. I thought that was really good, that Ahsoka disarms her and kills her with the blade of Talzin. The hyperspace ring departs. They take off, and they're unaware that Ezra is on board, obviously. He takes a trooper's armor as a disguise, because they've got a trip to another universe, so he's going to have to hide somehow. And Ahsoka and Sabine, meanwhile, remember, they're still on top of the tower, and now the Night Troopers are pursuing them to the edge. Well, they jump over the side. It's like, okay, obviously the fulcrum is below, and the fulcrum then, comes up over the side, and we see that they're standing on the fulcrum.
Yeah.
And it's interesting at this point because Thrawn then gives the order to open fire on the witches' tower.
Uh-huh.
And the witches are surprised.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like they signed up for that.
No, they didn't say anything, but it was like, well, wait a minute, that wasn't part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so as they open fire, of course, all the night troopers and the whole thing collapses, and Ahsoka and Sabine, get inside the fulcrum and try to pursue them into space because they're still after. But yeah, the witches were real surprised that he gave the order to destroy the tower. So the fulcrum then, they pursue the ring in the fulcrum, and Thrawn comes up. Thrawn is a monologuer, y'all. He he loves to hear the sound of his own voice, and so he comes across the comm, and Ahsoka never says anything to him. She won't even address him, and but he says in this silky soft creepy voice that he has.
I mean, that's really why, with it being Lars Mikkelsen, it's really perfect, especially, to be able to hear his voice, and it be, him who's also from the animated series. It's perfect.
It is. It really is. He says, allow me to commend you on your efforts today. I know you because I knew your master. I concluded your strategies would be similar. One wonders how similar you might become. Perhaps this is where a Ronin such as you belongs. Today, victory is mine. Long live the Empire. And it's just, but the line there when he says, one wonders how similar you might become is, that's a jab. It is. In other words, are you going to turn to the dark side? Because he knows obviously, what happened to Anakin.
Yeah, what became of Anakin.
So it's to get under her skin. It's all about. It's
perfect. It's the perfect send off. I mean, he makes his point. I bested you. Nice try, but I've bested you.
Today.
And so anyway,
and he said, we've never met in person, and we might never meet in person. Again, which I kind of doubt it. I think he'll see. Ahsoka again. I really do.
Yeah.
But and anyway,
they make the jump, leaving Ahsoka, and her ship behind, Sabine and Huyang, and so they make the jump. And so we cut to Peridia. Back to Peridia. We're wrapping this thing up. Ahsoka and Sabine go back to the Noti, who are glad to see them. Ahsoka looks into the distance and sees an owl-like bird whose name is Mirai. You see Mirai show up at regular intervals.
Yes.
After the sister makes makes a sacrifice, for Ahsoka, which we'll discuss more here in a second. Mirai is kind of like the spirit of the sister, if you will.
Right.
But anyway, so you see this owl-like bird with like a like a long tail, fly, not too far away. Then Shin approaches the nomad camp and raises her lightsaber from the ridge above. Essentially, you're now my forces. I'm in charge here. Y'all will follow me. And then
I'm taking over. I'm taking over.
Yeah. I have the sword. I have the power. Kind of. Of the lightsaber, the power here. Kind of a dark saber-esque. But Balin's skull in an epic shot. And I hate that Ray Stevenson passed away. because they had that. I mean, it's no question they had big plans for his character, and
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think, they may end up recasting him. Many people have said, the best way to honor his performance is to flesh out the rest of the story with somebody who's going to commit to, really portraying the role as it should be portrayed. And so anyway, it's such a huge loss because he's a fantastic character.
It is. And I think, and I would really have looked forward to seeing what he would do. That they were going to give him, I think, more. The story was really headed, in his direction. I think he would have done a fantastic, job with it. So,
absolutely.
I really hope. Now it would take, they're going to have to give it some thought, and they're going to have to be careful. But I really think that they should recast him and continue on. It might be tough to replace. I don't think that, it might be tough to replace him. But I agree. I would like to see them find another equally strong actor to step into that role and continue the story. So it's.
We'll see,
really
but epic scene. He's standing here on the, at the, on the outstretched arm of the massive statue of the Mortis god, the father, and on the left you can see, and we'll show you the picture here in a second. But on the left you can see the crumbled statue of the sister, and then on the right you can see the statue of the brother, and they're just massive,
bring that up, William.
Huge statues.
And we'll just kind of explain who the Mortis gods are, because they, if you have not watched the Clone Wars, there was some reference to them as well in Rebels. But,
specifically with the World Between Worlds.
Yes, but there were 3 specific episodes that dealt with them exclusively. And Ahsoka and Anakin, that were really just an interesting 3 episodes. Even at the time, as people were watching, they really were interested in what Dave Filoni did with these with these three episodes. The Mortis gods.
And so, if you're wondering what Mirai looks like, it's on the shoulder here of the sister on the left side. It's like basically an owl-looking bird with a, long, like lemur-like tail, if you will.
Yes. Let me see. She's a convor bird. So it's called a convor, Convor. She looks a lot like an owl. But you want to go ahead and talk about the Mortis gods there?
Sure thing. Let's see here.
Well, we didn't. Let's finish up. Let's finish up. Let's get that last scene, and then we'll go into it. This is
put a bookmark there. Balin standing on the statue, and then we cut back to Ezra. The hyperspace ring arrives at Dathomir. There's an overhead view of the cargo. A ship lands on Hera's transport. And they do not consider it a friendly. I mean, it's an Imperial ship. So everybody kind of, everybody's on high alert. They
blasters.
They're ready to fire, and a trooper comes off the ship, and Chopper, curiously approaches him, and it's none other than Ezra. True to character,
takes the helmet off.
In disguise, and he says, "Hi, Hera, I'm home." And Hera's stunned to see him, so pretty neat.
Hera's just speechless. To see, she was not expecting to see. To see Ezra. It's really good. But Chopper recognizes him and approaches him. Chopper knows who he is before he takes the helmet off. Which I think is really, really cool. And he puts his, before he takes the helmet off, he puts his hand on top of Chopper, and Chopper gets excited, and that's when he takes his helmet off. And so it's really really cool,
really awesome.
Now this,
and then the last scene, which is fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
we're in the No-T camp. Ahsoka and Sabine have been stranded on Peridia, along with Shin and Balin as well.
Mhm.
In the No-T camp, Ahsoka stands kind of on a ridge, on a rise, looking over the horizon. She tells Sabine, "You did well."
Yeah. Yeah.
Assures Sabine that Ezra made it back home.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and said, Ahsoka says Ezra's where he needs to be, and so are
Mhm.
we. It's time to
Mhm.
move on. And
Yeah.
so Sabine looks into the distance and thinks she sees or feels something, which is interesting.
Mhm.
Um,
I found that to be
and
very fun.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Sabine says, nothing, it's just shadows in the starlight.
Hmm. So what did
And so,
Sabine see?
but but
What was she tapped into there?
yeah,
Um,
it's curious. I wonder.
uh-huh. Very.
But Ahsoka does see someone, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
we get
Oh.
you know one more look at Hayden Christensen as Force
Yes.
Ghost Anakin,
Yeah.
watching over them, smiling.
Yeah.
Is
Mm.
a great send off
It is.
for this episode here.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. I
Um,
absolutely loved it.
so
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so back to the Morty Scots here. We have a picture of them here. You got the father in the middle, the daughter on the left, the son on the right. Um,
Mhm.
kind of different embodiments of the Force. The
Yes.
the
Yes.
father, being kind of the one balancing the two, kind of
Mhm.
intervening between the two. The daughter is the
Mhm.
light, the brother is the dark side of the Force. But
Mhm.
so there are images of these, the Mortis gods. That actually, what is it? The way that Ezra finds the world between worlds and is able to save Ahsoka
Mhm.
is because of this mural. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes. Yeah.
so he's basically pointing at the portal, to the world between worlds. And so
Right.
uh,
Right.
there's a 3-part arc in the 3rd season of the Clone Wars, and Mom put a star by these episodes in the description of the video. Season 3, episode 15, Overlords. Season 3,
Mhm.
episode 16, Altar of Mortis, and then season 3, episode 17, Ghosts of Mortis.
Yeah. If you check
Um,
the description, guys, we have all of the essential
uh-huh,
episodes of the Clone Wars and Rebels that feature Ahsoka, and
yeah,
I put a star beside these 3 episodes. So you can check
uh-huh,
that if you want to. If you want to watch them later, you don't have to write it down. I've got it in the
yeah,
description. There's stars between these beside these particular episodes, so you can check that
yeah,
if you want. And these are fantastic episodes. They're
yeah,
really, really interesting. So I would encourage you to watch these in particular.
yeah. So some things that happen in these episodes. Spoiler alert. Ahsoka actually
Mhm.
dies, and later the daughter pours
Yeah,
her dying life force into Ahsoka to
yeah,
bring her back. So this daughter essentially sacrifices herself to bring Ahsoka back.
yeah,
The son gives
yeah.
Anakin a true vision of his future as Darth Vader,
Mhm.
and he's horrified by the news that he will eventually turn to the dark side. Anakin responds by immediately turning to the dark side. Later, the father wipes his memory of the vision so everything can go back to normal, essentially.
Right,
Um, at the
right.
end of the episode, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka wake up on their shuttlecraft in space only moments after they had apparently left, as if it was all a dream, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
Ahsoka
yeah,
appears to carry some aspect of the daughter with her, some like her
yeah.
essence, kind of
Right.
through to the final scenes of Ahsoka season 1. Since
Mhm.
Rebels, Ahsoka's presence in a story has often coincided with the appearance of an owl-like bird called Mirai. Um,
Mhm.
I think.
Mhm.
Um, and let's see, with the plumage and same color as the daughter's character design, as you can see
Right,
on the daughter's
right.
shoulder.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And I have
and
pictures of the daughter and the son, so you can kind of get a look at what
uh-huh,
they, what they look
yeah,
like. You can,
and
yeah. I have several
Ahsoka
pictures.
herself seems to believe that the bird, which she calls Mirai, represents the daughter. The gods of Mortis are rooted. Let's see. Sorry, hold on a second. Wrong screen here. There we go. There's another mural. There, look at it. So this is Ezra again. Ezra actually sees this. You can see him here at the bottom left. The circle underneath the daughter.
Yeah.
This is how he finds the world between worlds, and he uses it to pull Ahsoka out of her encounter with Darth Vader. Presumably deadly encounter with Darth Vader.
Yes.
Ahsoka had essentially sacrificed herself to and fought Darth Vader and allowed them to get away. And so, Ahsoka or Ezra sees this point in time is able to pull her out of that memory, essentially.
Jonathan, have you watched the Clone Wars? Have you watched these particular episodes that talk about?
I think he has. It's been a while.
It's they're as Dave Filoni writes, it becomes canon. So, I would say.
And so let's see. Let's see. The gods of Mortis are very rooted in the kind of general mythopoetic ideas that Lucas has always cited as his inspiration for Star Wars metaphysics. There's a lot of Greek mythology. Maul's the guy that rolls the ball up the hill, only to have it come back down, essentially. And so you can look at various characters and kind of see connections there.
So George Lucas's, his inspiration for these Mortis gods that basically are the keepers of the Force, if you will, the overlords of the Force. He talks about the Norse gods, Ragnarok. Or the Greek gods and the Titans, they're all the myths of the gods, and he pulls ideas from those for these Force gods, basically. And this is George Lucas himself. So this is George Lucas, guys. Not necessarily all Dave Filoni.
Yeah. And so it's Jonathan makes a great point. Yeah, you could pull anybody out of time, or space. And so that's they have to kind of lean on this sparingly, if you will.
Right.
And so as far as we know, it's only been used for Ahsoka to pull her out of the jam with Darth Vader. But it's very weird. Yes, you're right. Emperor Palpatine did appear in one of the windows in that Rebels episode.
He did. Yeah, and they had to escape from him. Yeah, he was Palpatine. In that episode, in those episodes, is knows that whoever controls. He thinks that whoever controls the world between worlds controls everything, and so he's trying to to get in and all this, and they have to close his window, in order to keep him from reaching into the world between worlds. This is a slide of the father, and on the left is what he looks like,
in the
interesting character there in the Clone Wars, and on the right is what we see in the season finale. And you can actually in this little one, you get that little bump on his index finger is Baylan Skoll standing on this. And I've got another movie shot or episode shot of that. But, so this is
there in the middle is the mural from Rebels too, and so all the different ways that he's represented. Just to wrap up the description real quick. It's, after all, an indefinable manifestation of life that surrounds and binds all matter in the universe, and that some attuned individuals can be trained to harness it for good or evil, is a thoroughly different understanding of the Force than the dark side is ruining right now, because the god of the dark side has killed his sister, the goddess of the light side. But it's exactly this kind of predestined eternal battle, like the Norse gods, like you said, Ragnarok, the Titans, that echoes Baylan Skoll's conviction to end the millennia-long cycle of Sith and Jedi. He wants to go to the beginning, and so to basically, in the conflict essentially. And so the last place we see him, he's standing on top of the statue of the Father, the Mortis god of balance between dark and light sides of the Force. We see the Mirai the Convor bird visit Ahsoka in the show's final moments, the finale of Ahsoka. But let's see. Yeah, we'll see how all this is going to come into play. How the Mortis, the statues of the Mortis gods come into play. How they're in another galaxy. Or how the witches of Dathomir will harness magic. Going forward, we'll see how all that kind of shakes down, if you will. But
now this is the father here, and the next two slides are of the daughter and the son, so you get an idea. This is the daughter. Her animation is just beautiful. She's really beautiful. I meant to look up the actors who voice these three, and I didn't forgot to do that. But this is the son. He is the embodiment of the dark side of the Force. So that is he, and of course he's always at odds with his sister.
Yeah,
and so they are
father in the middle between the
two, at odds. And so these 3 episodes, guys, I'm probably going to go back and watch these again. Just because they're really, really different, and I really loved this whole concept that Dave Filoni created there. And this is Ahsoka.
There's been various fan art. Yeah, this is just a fan art. You've got Ahsoka on the daughter's side
of the 3.
You have Rex in the middle.
Beautiful, some beautiful stuff there.
The mural, and then really Anakin cool. on the right. It's the brother.
Yeah, similar to the art that we see in the Mortis gods. Now this is from the last scene there where Baylan Skoll is standing on this ginormous statue of the Father. And so this is where we get it. This is where we understand where he's going with this thing. So he is looking out, across the horizon there. So he's playing, it's to me, it's kind of like Baylan is playing chess while Thrawn is playing checkers, which is interesting because Thrawn is the strategist. Thrawn is, but he, Baylan, I think, sees a bigger picture here. So we'll see, what they do. Again, let's see. Yes, lots of metaphoric, absolutely. Jonathan, lots of metaphor, absolutely, to take in. And there's one more slide, I think, William, that shows, a pan out. This is a little different one, but this is the statue of the Father, and then of course that picture of Ray Stevenson who plays Baylan Skoll, and so that's our Thrawn was always the chess guy, exactly, Jonathan, and it seems to me that now Thrawn, Thrawn is all about the Empire, for the Empire. He's going back to restore the Empire to power, while Baylan Skoll is saying, well, it's an endless conflict between good and evil. And it's almost like he's trying to go back to the beginning where the Father is. And so it's going to be interesting, guys. I can't wait to see what Dave Filoni has in his head, just quite frankly.
You showed that picture of Rex, Ahsoka, and Anakin in the style of the father, daughter, and son. I'd seen that a different take on that. Somebody had put one together that that still had Ahsoka on the left side as the daughter, had Anakin as the father, and then had a character known as Starkiller from the Force Awakens video game series as the son. So
Interesting.
So yeah,
But we
multiple
know,
takes.
guys. Yeah, we know that it's going to be interesting how this thing washes out and how deep they go, because we know that Ahsoka embodies some essence of the daughter.
Yeah,
because she brought Ahsoka back to life. So
really,
at any rate,
it's in. Oh, you go ahead. Okay.
I was
gonna say.
I was.
Yeah, it's this angle is very interesting, because you look at it and it's like, okay, how the heck do you how do you explain where Ahsoka's been this whole time? Where has Ezra been this whole time? We see the events of the sequel trilogy, the Disney trilogy happen. And with Rey and somehow Palpatine returned.
Right.
We see these events unfold. We see Luke, become very jaded. And so it's like, okay, where in the world, are Ahsoka and, Sabine, Cal Kestis, Ezra, Hera, so on and so forth. Where are these characters?
What are they doing? Yeah.
And so, for
the stories
Ahsoka
that
and
can be
Sabine
told
to
are
be
endless.
Yeah. For Ahsoka and Sabine to be stranded in Peridia makes it's a good, in-universe explanation for why they wouldn't have been there to chip in on these encounters. And so, anyway, it's interesting. If they are to get back to their universe, if they are to get back to their universe, I think that this is the ticket back. I don't think that you have another. They have no star map. They got very lucky with the Purrgil. We're very fortunate to end up in the right place. Obviously you got plot armor built in there, but I think that another potential opening, to the world between worlds is the best way for them to get back to their universe from Peridia. Is my hypothesis. And also have to stop Balin in the process. So there's that.
Yeah.
And so
that's a good angle. Yeah, it's a really good angle. But yeah, I think
coming out of this,
let's see. What is Thrawn's cargo? We still don't know what Thrawn's cargo is. What that could entail. What exactly is Balin's end game? Is he? He kept saying that. Don't you? He asked Shin. Don't you feel the power here? There's something here. Don't you feel it? So, and here's the other thing. Balin is not a Sith.
Yeah. Seemingly not full-fledged.
Seemingly not, he's not signed on, to that.
But he's also not Jedi either.
So what is he?
Claims to be something more.
Right. So what, it's got, what is he? What's his shtick? What's his angle?
Yeah.
It'd be so interesting to see them, them finish, whatever's in Dave Filoni's head. Like I said, his cargo is probably all the trinkets he's collected over the years. That's just become.
Yeah.
You think Thrawn is a hoarder, Jonathan? He's a collector. He collects art.
Yeah, he collects art, and then also he kind of takes trophies from those that he's defeated.
He does.
They've got that Hera's family heirloom that they reacquire from him.
You want thingamabobs? I got 20.
Yeah.
Could be, Jonathan. That's funny. So what will Ezra do next? Ezra is now home. Now it's interesting to me when you think about it. the two people who were stranded are now home, while all of the rescuers are stranded.
Yeah, well, ironic there.
So they've all kind of traded places.
Uh-huh.
Ahsoka, guys, seems, again, since she had the encounter in the World Between Worlds, she's changed to what she was at the beginning of the series. She is much more at peace. She actually seems happy. For the first time, when she is reunited with Ezra, she laughs out loud.
Yeah.
And she tells, at the end of this thing, she tells Sabine, we're right where we need to be. So there's a piece, I think, about her that's allowing her not only to reconcile with Sabine, but to reconcile some issues, in her past, like with Anakin, to reconcile some of that, which I think is really good. And they may delve more into that. But I love that angle of this series. I really do.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anything else, William?
That's all I've got.
That we need to cover. I love that they have brought this angle into it, because from Star Wars, where Obi-Wan is explaining the Force to Luke. The Force is all around us. It permeates us. From that beginning of explaining the Force, all through the years to now, we're understanding via Dave Filoni's storytelling that, about the Father, the Daughter, and the Son, who who represent the Force. I love that whole arc. That whole, it's like we've come full circle on this thing. And I think we'll see more of it. I really hope that they'll do it Ahsoka season 2. I don't see why they wouldn't. And so we loved it. We loved it.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
There's some more probably deep dives that we could take on this. I think we'll kind of leave it there. But there's a lot of information out there if you want to read further. We recommend Wikipedia. Yes, it is a thing. Wikipedia.com. That's spelled with 2 E's. To look up all things Star Wars. It's a fan-driven site, and they just have tons and tons and tons of backstory on the books, the films, the animated series. It's really exhaustive. Also, guys, go and watch on Disney Plus. There is an 8-minute short. It is called Master and Apprentice, a special look at Ahsoka. Go watch that, guys. I think you'll really enjoy it. It essentially talks about how Dave Filoni is George Lucas's apprentice. So it's very good. And Ahsoka Essential episodes are grouped on Disney Plus. You can find our suggestions in the description of this video. And from Rebels and the Clone Wars and Tales of the Jedi. Let's not forget Tales of the Jedi, where Ahsoka is also included. And just for fun, I did want to mention that there's, for Phineas and Ferb, guys, for Phineas and Ferb fans, there is a Star Wars mashup. It's season 4, episode 40, and it is so great. It's really good. It's really funny. If you love Phineas and Ferb, go watch that. Again, it's season 4, episode 40. It's really good. Watch that. This particular episode, this finale of Ahsoka season 1, has gotten a 7.8 out of 10.
It's crept up to 7.9 since you checked, because I just Googled it, so it's creeping up a little bit.
So we're up to 7.9 on it. So that's all of the Ahsokas have really gotten, for all the grumblers, have really gotten some good numbers. So at any rate, anything else that you wanted to say about this episode?
I think that's it.
Enjoyed it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Wrapped it up. Just It's really been great. Can't wait to see what they do next. Really looking for an Ahsoka season 2. The casting was very good. Again, we really hate that Ray Stevens passed away. This is just really really hate that. And our sympathies to his family and to all of his fans. He was a very talented man, and we would love to have seen more from him. More of his talent on the big screen would have been great. But at any rate, I have, guys, a Walt Disney World trip coming up. I will be leaving on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an extended trip. Please subscribe and ring the bell. We are working our way towards 1,000 subs. We're up to 909, I believe, currently, because I have some live streams already scheduled. For the first few days I'm there. But go ahead and ring that bell, because I may, while I'm there, be doing some pop-up live streams as well. You never can tell. But thank you to all of our new subscribers. We really appreciate it, and hope that you enjoy our content. By all means, if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments below. You can email us at thehitchhikingbones@gmail.com. You can contact us at our The Hitchhiking Bones. We're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook as well. So we're easily reached, and we love to hear from you guys. Be sure to join us for our weekly show, which is Hitchhiker Chat. It's on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. You can join us for that each week, or watch us on the replay. We always have to thank our channel members. Oh my goodness, you guys, we appreciate you so much. You bless us every month, and we are, we're really appreciative. Mike Wheeler, Tina McNeil, Brian's West Coast Disney Adventure, Mike 88 NYC, and Texas Takes are our channel members. If you'd like to become a channel member, we just welcome you. It would be so excited to have you. You can just click the join button there and check out our levels for becoming members.
Thanks
so like, subscribe, and
thanks to those watching in Ghost Mode. Thanks for those watching in Ghost Mode. Those in the chat. Big shout out to Aunt Joanne and Susan, Jillian, Kylie, and other family members. Mike Cabral, Mandy Adams, Jennifer Caruso, Mike Wheeler, Dean the Turkey Lexter, Jonathan Chung, and then Monarch Moments. If I missed you, I apologize. Like I said, do the best I can to, share my screen, keep up with the notes, just hang in the conversation. So if I missed you, I apologize. So we thank all y'all for being here. Big shout out to those watching on the replay as well. We thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jennifer Crusoe, the bell is rung. Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Hope to see you real soon. I'll see all of you, as many of us possible in Florida. Got some good plans, and we're really looking forward to being there for a little while to work on the channel. I'm going to pace myself. I promise, Mike. But I am going to try to do a good bit of live streaming while I'm there. Sure. Work on the channel. Again, we loved Ahsoka. Ahsoka is one of my favorite, characters in the Star Wars universe. She has been ever since Dave Filoni introduced her. I actually found this mug, y'all, and you probably noticed me using it. Just wanted to show this on a Shop Disney. This is a fantastic mug. It has right on the inside there, it has Ahsoka's symbol there on her face, and it has her Laku, her tendrils, and just the colors. It's just really pretty, really well themed. It's a nice size mug, but I love it. I ordered this and got it in the mail a couple of days ago, so I've enjoyed that. I love, and it's a good size. I think this is probably about 2 cups, so you can you have your morning coffee without having to refill it too much. And then also use it as a soup mug. I use these as soup mugs. They're a nice size, so that's fun too. I can't think of anything else, William. Again, I'm going to be at Walt Disney World in a couple of days. I am Really looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you guys in the chat, and let me know if you're going to be there, because I'd love to, love to meet up with you.
All righty. Anything else?
Don't know of anything else.
Here's to Ahsoka season 2. Hopefully we get it. There are way too many loose ends for my liking. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway,
thanks for watching this series, guys. If you've watched all of our, our whole series of reviews, put a message in the comments and let us know that you've watched the whole thing, and we would really appreciate that.
Yeah, we love this show. As always, there are some other directions they could have taken it, but I love what they did with this show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. For me, there's a lot of intrigue around Balin and Shin, and so I want to see more of them as well, because they're the premise of there being gray Jedi has been discussed in the past. Obviously that's not what they are, but it's very intriguing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah. And then there are for some fantastic books out there too. If you want more, can't get enough of that Star Wars content. It's all over the place. So suggest checking out some of those books at your local library. That way you don't have to spend the money, and you can still read them and enjoy them and read the whole thing. Our library has all of them. Our public library has all of them, by the way. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate you. We've enjoyed the series. Appreciate you following along. If you're on Team Replay, thanks so much. We appreciate it. At the Hitchhiking Bones YouTube channel, there is always room for one more. So please hurry back.
Bye, everybody.
So much, guys.
May the Force be with you always.
Always.
Till it's fire.
Thanks so much.